Okay, excuse me, I'm back. If you're following this, I'm not sure if this is going to be edited into one video or three, depending on my video editing skills. I'm still kind of new to this. Mustache is a little incongruent there. But if you're watching, I just shot a demo. I'm going to try to minimize the glare here. Of this Telecaster. This is my Granville T-style, and what I have on here are Wilkinson compensated brass saddles. Let's get a close-up of those. These are very common compensated saddles. They kind of deal with some of the intonation issues that traditional straight barrel style Telecaster saddles had, where you couldn't get, there would always be one string or the other would be slightly out of tune up the neck. So these deal with that, with their slanted style. A lot of people use these. They've been very popular. I've always used brass preferentially, but since I'm playing more and getting a little bit more of a critical ear, maybe too critical, I'm noticing, you may have heard it in the demo video, the B string in particular has what some term a sitar effect, which is where the string these strings wear grooves in the saddles over time. You can sand those away, and a lot of people do that, but this can come back. And what can happen is a groove forms and the string vibrates in that groove against the saddle itself, and it causes this kind of weird pitchy harmonic overtone kind of thing that happens that particularly on a bright setting like the bridge pickup and a bright sounding amp can sound a little unpleasant. My E string also, my high E, just kind of seems to have a little bit of seems a little bit deadened. It doesn't sustain like some of the other strings do. It doesn't ring out as well. I think it's due to a similar kind of issue. I've never been too much of a cork sniffer where saddles are concerned. You can spend a lot of money on these depending on the brand that you get. But I decided to try something. I've done some research on brass versus stainless steel, and I've seen some demo videos. The steel can be brighter. The high strings can be a little bit more ice pick sounding, but the low strings seem to benefit from the steel. And so this guitar is already pretty bright, and I was reluctant to go to steel for that reason. But I did some research, and I found these, I don't know if you can see these, get up there close. These are Gotoh In-Tune titanium saddles. And similar to these, they use a slot method as opposed to a slanted surface. But they are cut differently for each string to allow for the different intonation distance. Be able to get them intonated and in tune. So I'm going to replace these here, and I'm not going to show you the whole process, but I am going to kind of tell you about what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do these probably one string at a time. I might take all the strings off. I haven't decided. I'll see when I get into it. But the first thing I'm going to do after I get the strings off is I'm going to take a little slip of paper that I've cut to the width of this bridge. And once the strings are off, I'm going to actually slide it underneath these saddles and up against the back wall of the bridge here. And then I'm going to take a pen or a marker, and I'm going to make a little dot on the paper in front of each of the height adjustment screws on each of these saddles, so that I know how far forward or back they are from the back of the bridge. That will save me time trying to reset the intonation with the new saddles. I'm also going to take a vertical measurement of the height of the strings on the saddles before I take the strings off, so that I know roughly how high these should be adjusted for my action. Again, this is enough of a project without having to completely start from scratch and do all that from zero. So why not work smarter? Once I have it together again, I'll do another video. Hopefully these three will be edited together that will show you what the new titanium saddles sound like. From my research and some videos that I've watched, what I expect to hear is, number one, for them to be somewhat in the same neighborhood tonality-wise as the brass, but with a little bit more sustain, a little bit more punch, possibly a little brighter. We'll see. I've heard mixed reviews on that. But I'm hoping that sitar effect will go away for two reasons. Number one, as you can see from these, I'm going to try and get this up in your grill again. As you can maybe see from these, they have a grooved design instead of the slanted flat surface going over a sharp point into a round surface, like these do. And titanium is ridiculously hard, whereas brass is notoriously soft. So I'm hoping between the two of those elements that it will eliminate that sitar effect, and hopefully it'll still sound like a twangy Telecaster, and maybe just sound better. So we'll see. Some people make the argument, perhaps justly so, that this is kind of getting into cork sniffer territory. Different bridge materials, different bridge thicknesses, different saddle materials. You can go a little bit nuts with it, but having used vintage and modern style bridges on the same guitar, I can tell you there is a difference. It's subtle. Depending on how particular you are, what kind of sound you're looking for, especially what kind of visual aesthetic you're looking for, it may be worth a change or not. So if anything, I'm hoping these videos will encourage you to do your own experimentation with your own instrument and draw your own conclusions. This kind of stuff can get costly if you start trying everything on the market, but if you try one or two things, it can be eye-opening, and you may find you make a great guitar even better, or a good guitar great. And it's just fun. It's part of the adventure and the pursuit of tone. The stuff stays on the market. Some people swear by it, so there must be something to it. And I hope that this video series ultimately illustrates that for you. I'm still kind of new to the whole YouTube thing, so I'm sure that there are other videos out there on this kind of thing. I know there are on brass versus steel saddles. I haven't seen as much on brass versus titanium, so maybe this will help someone somewhere. I'm sure there are people that can do a better, more controlled comparison than what I have, but maybe this will give you enough to make a judgment call from. And if that happens, I've done my work here. So thanks again for checking me out, and I'll be back in a little bit with titanium saddles. Thanks. All right, I'm back in the saddles, as it were. I've just put these on here. Give a close-up look at this. These are my brand new Gotoh titanium in-tune saddles. Explain what that means in a second here. Get some good angles without too much glare. Anyway, so what makes these in tune is that they are compensated, like many styles of 3-barrel Telecaster saddles on the market now, including the ones I just took off, which are these Wilkinson compensated brass. These are a different design. Instead of a kind of a shelf that shortens the distance from the saddle to the nut by the way it's angled. These are more of just kind of a grooved slot. So the string is kind of kept in one place. It minimizes, string migration if you strum or pick hard, which is nice. And titanium by nature is just a harder material than brass. Part of the reason that I think I had the problem that I was having with the other ones is because brass is soft, and over time grooves wear in the saddles, whether they're fully round or slotted or angled or whatever. And they can lead to that sitar effect that I was talking about. So anyway, let me play these real quick and just let you hear them. Try to do similar to what I did in the other videos. Okay, so hopefully, as you were able to hear, they sound a little different. I think I don't know if it translated in the video recording. And by the way, I should just disclose, when I did the demo of the old saddles, I had a set of strings that was neither old nor new. They had some wear to them. I actually just undid those strings, changed the saddles, and put the same strings back on. So any differences that you're hearing have nothing to do with like new strings or brighter sounding strings because they're fresh. This is strictly the saddles, and I'm doing the same setup. I'm going through my pedal chain, but none of my pedals are on. I'm going into my 5F1 clone, and everything else should be more or less the same. So. But I just feel like, very much like what some of the people on the forum said, I do feel like the tone is similar to brass. It's not. I didn't experience any additional and unwanted brightness on the high end. If anything, it's just kind of nice and rounded and full sounding. There's a lot of sustain. There's some nice harmonics and overtones that come through, but not so much as to be distracting. And those problem strings that I was having an issue with, the high E on the old saddles, it used to just fizzle right out. And now it keeps going, which is great. The B string still has a little bit of an overtone. You can kind of hear it bloom real quick. But it doesn't sound as much like a sitar effect. It sounds more like just a normal overtone. And I think that's kind of normal to that string. When you get that sitar effect from your saddles, it exacerbates that in a very obnoxious kind of way. So I feel like that was corrected also. I feel like the low strings have plenty of thump. If I put some compression and some delay on it still sounds like a Tele. You know, it's not like it changed the sound radically. So I feel like for my investment, I put $40 into these. Certainly you can pay more than that for saddles, even brass ones from some of these boutique makers pay up to $100 for a set of well-machined precision brass saddles for your Telecaster. I don't know that I would spend that much. And of course, the Wilkinsons I had on, you could probably get for 10 or 15 bucks or less. In fact, I think you can get a whole bridge with the saddles for about 15 or 20 bucks. But I do feel like this was an improvement. I think it was partially due to the titanium material versus the brass. But I also think that the design, the slotted design versus the shelf design, where the string kind of goes over a sharp point, I feel like the slotted design is a little bit better. You know, you get a little bit more string, more surface area for the string to rest on, which I feel like, you know, does something. I'm not sure what. So I didn't see a lot of videos out there comparing brass to titanium. There's several that compared brass and steel. In fact, there's one I think that does brass, stainless, and cold rolled steel. But I wanted to try and you know, compare these two. I think for the investment, I think they're worth a look. I got these from, I'm going to put the link down below, I got these from Philadelphia Luthier Supply. They also have some of their own, I guess, in-house brand saddles that they offer. They're similar to the Gotohs in that they're slotted, they're reversible, and theirs come in brass, steel, or aluminum. And I think they have a really good design also. So even if titanium isn't something you ultimately go with, I think they're worth a look. Their saddles go for around $35 to $38, I think, for a set. And for, you know, a lot of the issues that they correct that are kind of inherent with a lot of these older saddles, I think they're worth the additional investment, as are these. Guys, thanks for checking out my video. I hope this helped you. Please leave me some comments below. Let me know what you think. If you have some different experience than me, or if you maybe tried another brand of titanium saddles. And, you know, if you like this, give me a like. If you like the way I do videos, please feel free to subscribe. I'll be doing more gear reviews and just videos where I put some of my music out. I'm kind of new to this, but it's fun to kind of throw some of my stuff out there and let people chew on it. Appreciate you guys. God bless. Talk to you soon.